Chapter 9. The Aftermath. On the 224th day after the onset of the rain had the waters receded sufficient for the ark to rest upon the mountains of Ararat. Seemingly magical occurrences were birthed to the earth due to the flood. For the first time in history was man able to view the sun and the moon in total clarity. Even the color of the sky had changed. In daylight it was no longer a muted bluish-green, but was now breathtakingly blue. Now there were clouds, fluffy, white, and massive. Noah and his family were initially greatly disturbed by the added brightness, but equally compensated by the novel spectacles they viewed. At night the heavens had become an ink-black backdrop, contrasting in high resolution the breathtaking paths of shooting stars. The stars were now so amazingly clear, and never had they realized them to be so numerous. Phenomena of second heaven once seen only by my own eyes, after the falling of the waters were now more clearly visible to these 8 surviving souls. Another occurrence that greatly concerned Noah was the cold. Something was different about the air. It was no longer tropical. They had no way of realizing that the poles of the earth were freezing, for when the earth was encapsulated it held the sun's warmth. Now that the insulating water blanket was gone, through process of evaporation and condensation, rain, snow, and ice would now become natural to planet Earth. The earth had soaked in a great deal of the water, while evaporation took its due to the heavens. 371 days after Noah entered the ark did he step upon dry ground. He and his family were repulsed by what assaulted their vision. The earth was damp and hostile. Nothing moved, everything was drowned. The earth was a sickening gray, decayed remains littered the countryside. Globally, the habitable land was reduced by the additional water upon the earth. There were new oceans, seas, lakes, mountains, and valleys. The weight of the water had made the earth's crust less stable and subject to increased seismic activity. The earth and all therein was exhausted. The Lord Jah-El once again spoke to Noah, and instructed him to release all of the animals brought into the ark. Afterwards Noah built an altar and sacrificed an array of clean animals, as well as incense of odor to the Lord. The Lord Jah-El was pleased with Noah's offering and spoke to him, making a covenant with him, promising that never again would he destroy the earth with water, and as a sign of that covenant he placed the rainbow in the sky. Jah-El blessed Noah and his family, reiterating the procreation mandate. He told Noah that now all animal life was given to mankind as food and clothing, but man was never to eat the blood thereof, for blood was sacred because it is the life and all life belongs to Jah-El. The Lord Jah-El also warned Noah that because of this decree would the animals of the earth grow to fear man, for now man was divinely mandated a hunter. Noah and his sons acknowledged the law of Jah-El, and all swore that they would not consume the blood. In the 601st year of his life did Noah set foot on the land, and in that year did he and his sons clear a place for themselves, and they began to plant their seed stock. And Noah planted vines on the mountain, and for a full 3 years did he guard the vines. And so it came to pass that at the very onset of the 4th year that he gathered the fruit thereof and made for himself wine which he aged for an additional year's time. At the 5th year anniversary of their coming forth from the ark, Noah presided over what had now become an annual family celebration of offering sacrifices to the Lord, and rejoicing and praising him that he had saved them. Afterwards Noah brought forth his fermentation of the vine and did drink himself into inebriation, he and his household with him. At the close of the day, the festivities well ended, Noah retired to his tent. Being drunk, he disrobed and fell asleep naked upon his bed. Ham discovered his father's condition, and proceeded to make sport of it to his brethren. But Shem and Japheth were not amused, and so walking backwards, so as not to see their father's shame, covered him with a cloak. When Noah awakened and was told of his son's folly, he became sore enraged, and cursed Ham's infant son Canaan, saying, "Cursed be Canaan, an enslaved servant shall he be to his brethren." Thus Noah cursed Ham's baby son, knowing that this would afflict Ham even more than had the curse been made upon him. Then Noah continued, "Blessed be the Lord God of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. God shall enlarge Japheth, and cause him to prosper." Upon hearing of the curse leveled against his youngest son, Ham was incensed. Then he, his wife, and his sons Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan departed from his father, and Ham built his own settlement and called it Ne'-elatom'. Japheth saw what his brother had done and became envious of him, and so he and his family left Noah and built a settlement and called it Hadatenses. Shem eventually followed suit and built his family's camp close to those of his father and brethren on the mountain, and called its name Sedek-Etzalabab. These are the sons of Shem shortly after his disembarking the ark: Elam, Ashur, Arpachshad, Lud, and Ram. And the sons of Japheth: Gomer, Magog, Madai, Jubal, Tubal, Meshach, and Tyrus. In the course of time many more sons and daughters were born to the sons of Noah, and these intermarried. Arpachshad, Shem's son born in the 2nd year after the flood, grew to manhood and took to wife Rasuijah, the daughter of Susan, the daughter of Elam, who was also Shem's son. Rasuijah bore a son and his name was called Cainan, and when he grew his father taught him writing. When he became of age he set out to find a suitable place of settlement that he might marry and father his children. In the midst of his quest did he come upon a writing that was carved on a rock. He transcribed it and sent going to it, for it contained the teachings of the evil watchers in accordance with which they used to observe the omens of the sun, moon, and stars. So he wrote out the sayings and said nothing to Noah concerning it, fearing that Noah would be angered. So Cainan found his place and took to wife Melchah the daughter of Madai, the son of Japheth. Then Melchah bore a son to Cainan, and they named him Shelah. Shelah came of age, and took to wife Moach. Moach bore him a son, and he was named Eber. Eber grew, and took to wife Atzerad. She bore him a son, and they called his name Peleg. In the days of Peleg did the sons of Noah begin to divide the earth. They divided in 3 parts, in lots. Shem's lot became the middle of the earth, which was to become his and the inheritance of his children. So Shem's land extended from the middle of the Ural Mountains, from the mouth of the water from the river Tanais westward to where this same river empties into the Sea of Azov. All lands to the north are Japheth's, but all land to the south down to the reaches of the Egyptian border was allotted to Shem. His portion extended west in a straight line to the Egyptian Sea, south to Africa to the extent of the Nile, and east toward Eden. To Ham was allotted the second portion, beyond the Gihon, towards the south to the right of Eden, to the mountains of fire, and it extended to the west to the newly formed Atlantic Ocean, and even farther west to Oceanus. To the north as far as Cadiz, and it goes forth to the coast of the waters of the sea to the waters of the Great Sea till it draws near to the river Gihon, and runs along the Gihon until it reaches the right of Eden. To Japheth was allotted the final portion beyond the river Tanais, northeast to the whole region of Scythia, and to all land east thereof. It extends northerly to the mountains of Chald, toward Oceanus, and it goes forth to the east of Cadiz as far as the sea. It extends until it approaches the west of Phurah, and it returns toward Phurag, and it extends easterly to the Sea of Azov. It extends to the region of the Tanais River in a northeasterly direction until it approaches the boundary of its waters toward the Ural Mountains, and it turns round to the north. So Japheth received 5 great islands, and a great land in the north, and a land that is cold. Ham's land is intense in heat, and the land of Shem is neither hot nor cold but is blended of both. Ham then divided his land amongst his sons, and the first portion did he give to Cush the lands toward the east, and to the west of him for Mizraim, and to the west of him for Put. Shem also divided amongst his sons. The first portion went to Elam to the east of the river Tigris till it approaches all of the land of India. To Ashur came the second portion, all the land of Ashur, and Nineveh, and Shinar, and to the borders of India. To Arpachshad all the land of the region of the Chaldees to the east of the Euphrates bordering on the Red Sea, and all the land of Lebanon, Senir, and Amana to the border of the Euphrates. To Aram, all the land of Mesopotamia between the Tigris and the Euphrates toward the north of the Chaldees to the border of the land of Ashur and the land of Arara. To Lud the mountains of Ashur and all there until it reaches the Great Sea, until it reaches the east of Ashur his brother. Japheth also divided his land so that in the far-reaching future his son Magog would become father of the Russian people, and Meshach and Tubal the fathers of the Turks, Madai the father of the Britons, Tyrus the father of the Thracians, and Javan the father of the Greeks. From Cush would stem the Ethiopians, from Mizraim, the Egyptians, from Elam, the Orientals, from Put, the Libyans. The allotting of the land was in the permissive will of the Lord Jah-El, for it was in the distinctions of these peoples that he would play out his master plan. At the onset of the falling of the floodwaters had the Lord Jah-El dispatched Michael and a legion of his holy angels. He sent them to dematerialize the 200 evil watchers and to cast them into their holding places until the final judgment. These would not lead astray mankind ever again except for the 5 that were bound in the earth for a tribulation time far into the future. With these restrained, the Dark Lord Lucifer was forced from his relative ease of not having to coerce mankind into wickedness. As Jah-El had decreed hundreds of years afore this time, the earth was now being roamed by the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim, Eljo, and Eluid, those neither human nor angelic beings who were now the invisible monstrosities of that unholy union. There was no place found for them in heaven, and no place for them in Sheol, and being in between worlds they strove to occupy bodies anew, for from bodies were they cast forth. It was by these wicked demon spirits that the Dark Lord Lucifer would wreak new havoc upon this new generation of mankind. He already had Cain's whetted appetite for the mysteries of the dark passages. Envy had already raised its ugly head amongst brothers, and now had the sons of Noah secretly divided the known earth that they may have individual possession instead of living as one family of man. Satan could see the pervasiveness of his evil far into the future. With his fallen angels, and the wicked demon spirits, he would lure countless captives into his partitions of the underworld. So the Dark Lord Lucifer left his domain and called all the evil spirits to himself, and they bowed before his presence and did obeisance before him. Satan commanded them, saying, "Plague the children of the earth and seek to inhabit and destroy their souls, that I may use them as pawns to unrighteousness and to cause sorrow to Jah-El through his worthless creatures of flesh and blood. Go forth and do as I have commanded." There was no real sense of purpose in these disembodied spirits prior to Satan's edict, but now they had a leader and their leader became their power. The spirits went forth attempting to possess whom they could, to work out once more the evil desires that consumed them. Without bodies they cannot experience the sensations of their wicked lust, but with them would they reintroduce into the world antediluvian mass murders, serial killings, witchcraft, sorceries, idolatry, adulteries, gross fornication, sodomy, and all practices so displeasing to the Lord of hosts. The unclean spirits began to lead astray the children of the sons of Noah and to make them err from my writings, and to destroy them. Noah's sons approached him and relayed to him the activities of the demons. Noah cried out to the Lord Jah-El, praying, "God of the spirits of all flesh, who has shown mercy towards me, you who saved us from the waters of the flood, and have not caused me to perish as you did the sons of perdition, and have allowed us to live, and multiply and increase. Lord, thou knowest how the evil watchers, the fathers of these evil spirits, acted in my day, and for these spirits which are living I pray thee imprison them, and let them not bring destruction upon my offspring." But Satan was in heaven, expecting Noah's plea, and he bade audience before Jah-El. "Lord Creator," he petitioned, "please allow some of them to remain before me that they may listen to my voice and do my bidding. For these are for leading astray, for the sons of men are wicked." Then the Lord decreed that all but 1/10 of them should be bound, and the remaining did the angels of heaven bind in the place of eternal condemnation. The Lord Jah-El sent words to Noah of all of the ways of the malignant spirits, that his sons might recognize their wiles, and Noah wrote these in a book and gave it to his beloved son Shem. Shortly after this occurrence did Noah die, and he was buried on Mount Lubar in the land of Ararat. Noah's life spanned 950 years, then his spirit was transported to the place of the called. 349 years had now elapsed from the time of Noah's setting foot from the ark. 2006 years had elapsed from Adam's creation to Noah's death, and I had been in heaven 1019 years. These are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Unto them were sons born after the flood. The sons of Japheth were Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshach, and Tyrus. The sons of Gomer were Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. The sons of Javan were Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Dednim. And the sons of Ham were Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. The sons of Cush were Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Ra'amah, and Sabja. Of the sons of Ra'alma were Sheba and Dedan. Cush begat Nimrod, who began to be a mighty one in the earth. The beginning of his kingdom was Babel, and Erech, Akkad, and Calneh, in the land of Shinar, and the cities Rehoboth, Calah, and Rezin. Mizraim begat Ludum, Anamim, Lahabim, Naphahim, Pathrusim, and Casluim, out of whom came Philistim and Caphtorim. Canaan begat Sidon his firstborn, and Heth. From Canaan's lineage eventually sprang the Jebusite, the Amorite, the Girgasite, the Hivite, the Archite, the Sinite, the Arvadite, the Zimmerite, and the Hamathite, and afterward were the families of these Canaanites spread abroad in great number in a land not their own, but that of Shem's. And the children of Shem were Elam, and Ashur, who built Nineveh, and Arpachshad, Lud, and Aram. The children of Aram were Uz, Hul, Gether, and Mash. Arpachshad begat Salah, and Salah begat Eber. Unto Eber were born 2 sons, Peleg, for in his days was the earth divided, and his brother Joktan. Joktan begat Almadad, Shalef, Hazarmaveth, Jerah, Hadoram, Uzal, Diklah, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havlah, and Jobab. These are the families of the sons of Noah, after their generations, in their nations, and by these were the nations established in the earth after the flood,